So this is a story about a putrid doll. So my dad was the kind of guy who went to garage sales and flea markets, fire sales, whatever, and found things that others would dismiss out of hand as pure junk, that he would see great potential in. So he would delight in spending hours sort of breathing new life into some piece of crap. And sometimes he would find something he gave to me that he thought I would like to breathe new life into. So one time, my husband and I took our kids up to New York to visit him, and I know I'm making that sound really easy. It wasn't. My dad's kind of difficult, but never mind that. So we got up there, and he says to me with a big smile, all excited, "Guess what I found in the dump?" So, despite the fact that I'm a grown woman, and I have with me two Buzz Lightyear-loving little boys, my father hands me a 3-foot-tall walking doll. And I can't think of a better way to describe this thing to you than to very accurately call it a putrid doll. And that's because she had on half a dress. And her hair was singed, and she was balding. She had on one shoe, her face was stained. I mean, this girl was a complete wreck. But my dad is handing it to me with a big smile, saying, "Clean it up there, Jane Ellen. Could be worth some money. Thought your kids might like to have this someday." So I can see that what he's handing me is revolting, but I know I need to take him seriously, because this doesn't happen very often. It's just not very common for my dad to act like this, and that's what makes it kind of tempting. I don't have a big, I don't have a lot of evidence gathered already that he's very interested in me. So I accept this putrid Cinderella because I see a satisfaction in him that I just don't want to ruin. So my husband agrees we can put this thing in the car and take it home, but I know he's just trying to avoid the possibility that my father might try to give this thing to somebody else. He's been in the family long enough to kind of know what the various threats would be. And he, against his better judgment, I can tell because I can see that he's as revolted as I am, he agrees to take this thing off my dad's hands. It's maybe an act of goodwill or a kind gesture. So we get the thing in and he agrees to take it along only if it goes in the far, far back. So we get the kids in the car, we get the doll in the far, far back, and we head off. And shortly thereafter, it becomes apparent that Cinderella is harboring a powerful odor. And the 2-hour car ride becomes suffocating with the distinct smell of cat pee. So this is where my husband loses it, and he says, "That's it. The minute we get home, this thing's going in the garbage." So you might be asking yourself, how can her father give her something that stinks to high heaven? And, well, I don't think he even noticed. I mean, my father was a dairy farmer, and he was tromping around in cow manure all day. I don't think he even knew. So I don't think he could smell anything. So anyway, we get home, we get the kids into bed, we get the doll out of the car. My husband and I have a little bit of a standoff in the garage. And that's because he says, this thing may not go in the house. And I say, I'm adamant, it would be a travesty to throw into the garbage something that my father has painstakingly and lovingly pulled from the garbage just for me. And, looking back on it, I can sort of justify my position by thinking of it in terms of maybe like a little boy bringing home a frog to his mother. But my husband wants no part of this, and he says, Cinderella may not reside with us. And I say, I have got to satisfy this very strong urge to keep this thing. But in the end, I have no logical argument for what I could possibly do with a putrid doll. So my husband and I stand next to our 50-gallon garbage can on wheels, and we agree that he will help me separate from the sick doll. And so it feels good. It feels really good to think that I will not be signaling my affection for my children by handing them this thing. And it feels really good to kind of hold my husband's hand while I inch away from my past. So he stands there and he watches me while I take the 3 steps up to the garage, from the garage into the house, and he waits until I shut the door. I'm barely inside. I'm barely in the laundry room when I hear the gentle thud of Cinderella as she hits the can. So I'm telling you all this because there's great satisfaction in these circumstances for me. Because this is a love story. And I'm the big winner. Love is invisible, and you've got to be ready to recognize it however it comes, whenever it comes. It's not always flowers and chocolates and debonair men. In my world, love comes in the form of two important gentlemen vying for my affection. And in my world, one of them is offering me a putrid doll, and the other is very kindly taking it away.
That's great.